There's a slot machine on the casino floor right now that's about to pay out big. And if you know what to look for, you could be the one sitting at it when it happens. I spent over 12 years as a casino operations manager across 3 major casino properties in Nevada and New Jersey. My job wasn't to help players win. It was to maximize slot revenue through strategic machine placement, performance tracking, and player behavior analysis. I reviewed daily coin-in reports, monitored hold percentages, and made decisions about which machines stayed on prime floor locations and which ones got moved to the back corners where nobody would find them. You've always suspected that casinos manipulate you, that machines aren't truly random, that the house uses psychological tricks to keep you playing longer and spending more. You're absolutely right, but the manipulation doesn't work the way most players think it does. Before we dive into the secrets, do me 3 favors. First, smash that like button right now. Second, subscribe and hit the notification bell because I'm going to keep exposing industry secrets they don't want you to know. Third, drop a comment below telling me your favorite slot machine. Buffalo? Lightning Link? Dragon Link? I want to know what you're playing. Today, I'm revealing 8 secrets about slot machines that the casino industry has spent billions of dollars studying and perfecting. These aren't myths. These aren't theories. These are documented tactics I personally implemented during my time as management. Let's start with the biggest lie of all. Every single day, I watched players waste thousands of dollars chasing a complete illusion. The idea that slot machines cycle between hot and cold periods, and that you can predict when a machine is due to pay based on recent performance. This is the most expensive myth in gambling, and I need to destroy it right now with mathematical facts. Every modern slot machine operates using a random number generator, or RNG. This is a computer chip that generates billions of number combinations every single second. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The RNG never stops. It's generating combinations right now on every machine in every casino, even when nobody is playing them. Here's what this means in practical terms. Every spin is completely independent from every other spin. The machine has no memory. It doesn't know it just paid a jackpot 5 minutes ago. It doesn't know it hasn't paid a bonus in 3 hours. It doesn't care how much money you've put into it. Every time you hit that spin button, you're essentially rolling a 10,000-sided die, and the result of the last roll has 0 influence on the next roll. When someone tells you, "This machine is hot, it's been paying all night," or "This machine is cold, it hasn't hit in hours, so it must be due," they're operating under a fundamental misunderstanding of how slot machines actually work. The RNG doesn't recognize patterns. It doesn't respond to time. It simply executes mathematical algorithms that have no emotional or temporal awareness. Let me tell you about a player I'll call Michael. Michael was a regular at one of the properties I managed. He had this elaborate theory that if a Buffalo Gold machine didn't trigger the bonus feature for 90 minutes, it was mathematically overdue and would definitely hit in the next 30 minutes. One Friday night, I watched Michael on our surveillance cameras camp at a Buffalo Gold machine that had been relatively cold for about 2 hours. Michael was convinced this was his moment. He sat at that machine for 4 straight hours, feeding it $100 bills one after another. I saw him deposit over $6,000 into that single machine. Around midnight, the bonus finally triggered. Michael won $900. He jumped up, celebrated, high-fived a stranger, and cashed out feeling like he'd beaten the system. But the mathematics told a very different story. Michael deposited $6,000 and walked away with $900. He lost $5,100 chasing a mathematical illusion. The RNG didn't reward his patience. It didn't care about his theories or his strategies. It simply executed its programmed algorithm, completely indifferent to how much time or money Michael had invested. This is the harsh truth. Machines don't get hot or cold. They don't become due. Every spin is an independent random event. Understanding this fact alone will save you thousands of dollars. Now that you understand every spin is independent, let's talk about the factors that actually matter: RTP and strategic machine placement. RTP stands for return to player. It's the percentage of all money wagered that a machine is programmed to return to players over its lifetime. If a machine has a 93% RTP, it means for every $100 wagered, the machine will eventually return $93 to players. The other $7 is the house edge, the casino's profit margin. Here's secret number 2, that casinos don't advertise. Higher denomination machines almost always have better RTP than lower denomination machines. Dollar machines and $5 machines typically have RTP between 92% and 96%. Penny slots, the ones that let you bet as little as 20 or 30 cents per spin, often have RTP between 85% and 88%. Why this massive difference? Because the casino knows that players willing to bet higher amounts are more valuable customers who need to be incentivized with slightly better odds. High-denomination players expect better treatment and better returns. Penny slot players are viewed as low-value entertainment customers, so the casino tightens the margins significantly. But here's the critical caveat. Even with better RTP, you're still fighting a losing mathematical battle. A 94% RTP means you lose $6 for every $100 wagered. The only difference is you lose more slowly on higher denomination machines. That's your only advantage. Now, secret number 3 is about something I was personally involved in during management meetings: strategic machine placement on the casino floor. Machines in high-traffic areas, near main entrances, close to the cashier cages, along the main walkways between table games and slot sections. These machines are programmed with tighter RTP. Why? Because they're going to get played regardless of their odds. People walk by, see the flashing lights, hear the celebration sounds, and sit down on impulse. The casino doesn't need to offer better odds on these machines because the location itself guarantees consistent play. The best machines, in terms of RTP, are usually placed in what we call crossroads, or secondary floor locations. Not completely hidden, but not in the highest visibility spots either. The casino places slightly looser machines in these areas to attract knowledgeable players who actively seek out specific games and are willing to walk the entire floor. Let me share a story about a fellow manager named David, who was absolutely ruthless with floor optimization. Whenever a specific machine started paying out significantly more than its programmed average, let's say a Dragon Link that hit 3 major jackpots in 48 hours, David would flag that machine in our internal system. The next night, usually around 3 or 4 in the morning when floor traffic was minimal, our maintenance team would physically relocate that machine. We weren't changing any settings. That requires extensive regulatory approval and documentation. But we were changing the physical location. That Dragon Link that had been sitting in a prime spot near the main bar with maximum visibility and foot traffic would suddenly appear in a corner near the restrooms. Low visibility, low traffic, same RTP, same programming, but drastically reduced player exposure. This simple relocation strategy limited the financial damage to the casino's bottom line. And we did the exact opposite, with machines that were holding significantly more than expected. If a machine was paying out only 82% when it should be paying 90%, we'd move it to center floor, add extra lighting around it, position staff nearby to create visual activity. We maximized exposure for machines that were currently running hot for the house. One particular incident stands out. We had a Wheel of Fortune machine that was absolutely crushing our revenue. Over a 10-day period, it held only 3% when its programmed hold was 8%. That's an 85% payout rate when it should have been holding 92%. Management was furious because this was a premium center floor location. David ordered the move at 2:30 in the morning on a Wednesday. By Thursday morning, that Wheel of Fortune had been relocated to a spot near the back exit, next to the employee break room entrance. Terrible location. Almost no visibility. But here's where it gets interesting. There was an Advantage player named Robert who had been tracking that specific machine for weeks. Robert noticed machines. He paid attention to floor changes. He understood that relocations weren't random decisions, but signals of machine performance. Robert found that Wheel of Fortune in its new hidden location and played it for 3.5 hours. During that session, he hit 4 bonus rounds. His total take was over $2,300. The machine was still in its favorable payout cycle. The relocation didn't reset anything. It just changed who could find it. So here's your actionable intelligence. When you walk into a casino, don't just hit the main aisles. Walk the entire floor. Check secondary locations. Look for popular game titles in unusual spots. The best machine might be sitting in plain sight near the back restrooms because that's exactly where management put it to reduce exposure. Now, we enter the realm of psychological manipulation. These are the tactics that truly keep players glued to their seats, and they're devastatingly effective. Secret number 4. Near misses are programmed psychological weapons. You've experienced this countless times. Jackpot symbols appear just above or just below the pay line. Bonus symbols land on 2 out of 3 reels, but not the third. Wild symbols cluster together, but don't quite complete a winning combination. These are called near misses, and I need you to understand something critical. They are not accidents. They are not random occurrences. They are deliberately programmed features designed to manipulate your emotions. Game developers use something called reel mapping to create near misses at specific frequencies. This is completely legal. This is standard industry practice. But it's pure psychological manipulation. Near misses trigger a response in the human brain that's almost identical to the response from actual wins. Your brain interprets the near miss as, "I almost won! I was so close." This releases dopamine, the same neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. You feel excitement, anticipation, and hope, and that keeps you playing. The mathematical reality? That near miss meant absolutely nothing. The RNG selected a losing combination. The fact that it visually looks like you almost won is theatrical programming. You weren't close to winning. You simply lost, but the loss was dressed up to look exciting. As a manager reviewing surveillance footage, I watched players react to near misses constantly. They'd lean forward, slap the machine screen, say things like, "Come on, one more," and then immediately hit the spin button again with renewed energy. Meanwhile, I knew that near miss had zero statistical significance. It was pure theater, working exactly as designed. Secret number 5. Losses disguised as wins, the most sinister trick in modern slots. Let me give you a concrete example of how this works. You bet $2 on a spin, activating 25 pay lines at 8 cents each. The reels spin. Suddenly, you hear winning sounds. Lights flash. Animations play across the screen. The machine is celebrating. You look at the credit meter. You won $1.40. You just lost 60 cents. But the machine celebrated like you hit a jackpot. This tactic is called LDW, which stands for losses disguised as wins, and it's one of the most effective player retention tools ever invented. The casino understands that if every loss was met with silence and darkness, players would become emotionally exhausted very quickly and stop playing. But when small losses are celebrated as wins, your brain receives constant positive reinforcement. You feel like you're winning even when you're losing. The positive emotions accumulate. You stay in an elevated emotional state, and you continue playing because you genuinely believe you're doing well. I'll never forget watching a woman on a Cleopatra machine for nearly 5 hours on a Saturday night. She was celebrating constantly, cheering, clapping, doing little dances in her chair. Other players walking by assumed she was having an incredible winning session. I had real-time access to her machine's performance data. In 5 hours, she inserted $4,200. The machine paid back $3,100. She lost $1,100. But because of the constant LDW celebrations, because the machine made noise and showed animations for wins as small as 40 cents on a $2 bet, she genuinely believed she was having a great night. When she finally cashed out and left, she was smiling, telling the cashier it had been so much fun. She paid $1,100 for 5 hours of entertainment and didn't even realize it. Worse, she'd be back next weekend because, in her memory, that was a positive experience. Secret number 6. The comps and player card system is sophisticated behavioral tracking disguised as rewards. Casinos love when you use your player's card. They tell you it's for accumulating points, earning rewards, getting special offers. All of that is true, but it's not the primary reason they want you to use that card. The primary reason is data collection and behavioral analysis. When you insert your card into a machine, the casino begins tracking an enormous amount of information. Your average bet per spin, your spins per hour, your session duration, your preferred playing times, your game preferences, your win-loss patterns, and most importantly, your Theo. Theo is short for theoretical loss. It's how much the casino expects you to lose based on your playing patterns and the RTP of the machines you play. If you wager $100 per hour on a machine with 90% RTP, your Theo is $10 per hour. That's your expected theoretical loss. Comps, the complimentary rewards the casino offers, free meals, hotel rooms, free play credits, show tickets, are calculated as a percentage of your Theo, usually between 20% and 40%. So if your Theo is $10 per hour and you play 5 hours, your total Theo is $50. The casino might offer you $20 in comps. Seems generous? You just theoretically lost $50, and they gave you $20 worth of free food. The casino still profited $30 from you, and you feel valued and appreciated. But here's the truly manipulative part. The timing of comp offers is strategically calculated to prevent you from leaving. The player tracking system sends alerts to floor supervisors when specific conditions are met. Maybe you've been playing for hours, and your betting has slowed down, indicating fatigue. Maybe you've lost a significant amount, and you're showing signs of frustration. Maybe you've started looking around, checking your phone, behaviors that indicate you're thinking about leaving. At that precise moment, a host or floor attendant will magically appear with an offer. Congratulations, you've earned a complimentary buffet. Or, we'd like to offer you a complimentary room upgrade for tonight. This isn't coincidence. This is precision-timed behavioral intervention. The casino knows that if you go to the buffet, you'll eat, feel refreshed, and probably return to the floor to play more. If you accept the room, you'll stay another night. More hours, more potential play, more Theo. I worked alongside a player development manager named Lisa, who was exceptional at comp timing. Lisa monitored a dozen high-value players simultaneously on multiple screens in our back office. The moment one of them showed signs of leaving, standing up, stretching, looking toward the exit, Lisa would immediately dispatch a host with a personalized comp offer. Her success rate was incredible. Over 75% of players who were about to leave would stay at least another hour after receiving a comp. And during that extra hour, most of them would lose more than the value of the comp we'd offered. One player, I'll call him James, was a frequent target. James played $5 slots, bet aggressively, and had a Theo around $120 per hour. One Saturday evening, James was on a brutal losing streak. He'd lost $3,000 in less than 3 hours and was visibly upset, clearly preparing to leave. Lisa sent a host with an offer. Complimentary dinner for 2 at our premium steakhouse, a $150 value. James accepted, Took his wife to dinner, they ate, relaxed, talked, and James calmed down considerably. After dinner, James returned to the floor, just to play a little more. In the next 90 minutes, James lost another $1,400. The casino spent $150 in food cost and extracted $1,400 in additional losses. That's an 833% return on investment. James left that night feeling like the casino had treated him well. He'd received a fancy dinner. He felt appreciated. But he'd lost $4,400 total. And the comp had been the exact tool that kept him playing long enough to lose that extra $1,400. Now that you understand how casinos manipulate you, let's discuss the only two strategies that actually work: bankroll management and exit discipline. Secret number 7. The 1% rule and strict bankroll management. Most players enter a casino with no financial strategy whatsoever. They bring whatever money they have available and play until it's gone, or until they win something significant. This is the perfect recipe for financial disaster. If you're going to gamble, and I'm not recommending you do, but if you're going to gamble, you must follow the 1% rule. Never wager more than 1% of your total bankroll on a single spin. If you bring $2,000 to the casino, your maximum bet per spin is $20. Not 25, not 30, 20. This rule exists to protect you from variance, the natural statistical fluctuations that occur in any game of chance. Slot machines are inherently volatile. You can easily experience 30, 40, even 50 losing spins in a row without any significant return. If you're betting 5% or 10% of your bankroll per spin, a streak of bad luck will completely destroy you financially. You have no buffer to absorb the variance. But if you're betting 1%, you have 100 spins of cushion before you'd zero out. That gives you enough time to potentially hit a bonus or a winning streak that recovers your losses. Additionally, you must establish two absolutely non-negotiable limits: a loss limit and a win limit. Your loss limit is the maximum amount you're willing to lose in a session. If you brought $2,000, perhaps your loss limit is $500. When you've lost $500, you stand up and leave. No exceptions. No one more spin. No, I'll win it back. You leave immediately. Your win limit is equally important but more psychologically difficult to enforce. If you decide that when you double your money you'll leave, then when you turn $2,000 into $4,000, you walk away immediately. Most players can't do this. They win, they feel euphoric, and they think, "I'm on a roll, I'll keep going." They continue playing until they've returned everything to the casino. I witnessed this pattern literally thousands of times. A player would win $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Enough to be a genuinely life-changing amount for many people. But instead of cashing out and leaving, they'd continue playing, convinced their luck would last forever. 4 hours later, they'd not only returned all their winnings, but also lost their original bankroll. Let me tell you about a player named Marcus. Marcus was a regular who played every Friday night. One particular Friday, Marcus had an extraordinary session on a Lightning Link machine. He triggered the linked bonus feature 4 times in 2 hours. His initial buy-in was $400. He was up to $7,800. I watched the entire session on surveillance. Marcus cashed out $5,000 and immediately sent it to his wife via bank transfer. Smart move. He secured that money where he couldn't touch it. He kept $2,800 to keep playing. Good, sir, but here's where it fell apart. Marcus didn't set a loss limit for this new bankroll. He treated that $2,800 as house money, as free money, not as real money. This is a devastating mental fallacy. Over the next 4 hours, I watched Marcus systematically return all $2,800 to the casino. He changed machines 5 times, chasing bonuses, increasing his bet sizes, playing more and more aggressively as desperation set in. By 3 in the morning, Marcus was broke. Technically, Marcus won the night because he'd sent $5,000 home, but he could have left with $7,800. Instead, he left with 5,004 hours of frustration and emotional exhaustion. If Marcus had established a $500 loss limit the moment he decided to continue playing, he would have walked away with $7,300. But discipline is rare on a casino floor. Emotion, euphoria, greed, these are abundant. Discipline is almost non-existent. Secret number 8. The hit-and-run strategy is your only path to victory. Here's the most brutal truth about casinos. The longer you stay, the more you lose. This isn't opinion. This is mathematics. The RTP is against you. Variance eventually normalizes. The house always wins in the long run. The only way to beat a casino is through the hit-and-run strategy. Enter with a plan, play for a limited time period, and leave when you hit either your win limit or your loss limit, whichever comes first. The most successful players I ever encountered, the tiny minority who consistently left ahead, shared one common trait: time discipline. They'd play for 1 hour, maybe 2 maximum, and then leave regardless of whether they were winning or losing. Why? Because they understood that every additional minute in the casino is another minute exposed to the house edge. They respected variance. They knew that a lucky streak could evaporate in minutes. The casino, conversely, wants you to stay as long as possible. Every hour you remain on the floor exponentially increases the probability that you'll lose everything. That's why casinos have no windows, no visible clocks, offer free drinks, create comfortable environments. They want you to lose track of time. They want you in a trance state, playing mechanically for hours on end. I once knew a professional gambler, and these are rare, but they exist, named Andre. Andre didn't play slots for entertainment. He played with mathematical intention. He had a rigid system. Enter the casino, go directly to high-denomination machines with known favorable RTP, play exactly 300 spins, and leave. 300 spins, win or lose, no exceptions. If he doubled his money in 150 spins, he'd complete the full 300 and leave. If he'd lost half his bankroll in 200 spins, he'd complete the 300 and leave. Zero emotion. Zero deviation from the plan. Over the course of a year, Andre was slightly positive. Not significantly. Maybe 4% or 5% ahead of his total investment. But he was ahead, which is virtually unheard of for slot players. How? Absolute discipline, time management, and selective machine choice with superior RTP. Andre never stayed longer than 2 hours in the casino. Never. He understood that time was the real enemy, not luck. Most players don't have 5% of Andre's discipline. They enter the casino just to have some fun and leave 6 hours later, exhausted, financially devastated, emotionally drained. If you're going to play, set an alarm on your phone. 1 hour. When that alarm sounds, you finish your current spin, cash out your credits, and walk away. It doesn't matter if you're winning. It doesn't matter if you're losing. You leave. Because the only real victory in a casino is leaving before the mathematics catches up to you. And the mathematics always catches up. Always. Let's recap the 8 secrets the casino industry doesn't want you to know. 1. Machines don't run hot or cold. The RNG ensures every spin is independent. Patterns are illusions created by your brain trying to find order in randomness. 2. Higher denomination machines have better RTP. $1 and $5 slots give you better mathematical odds than penny machines. 3. Floor placement matters strategically. Machines in high-traffic areas are often tighter. The best machines are sometimes hidden in secondary locations or near low-traffic areas. 4. Near misses are programmed psychological tools designed to keep you playing. They don't mean you're close to winning. 5. Losses disguised as wins make you feel successful when you're actually losing. Celebration sounds and animations for net losses keep you in an elevated emotional state. 6. Comps are calculated based on your theoretical loss and timed strategically to prevent you from leaving when you should. 7. Bankroll management using the 1% rule protects you from variance. Loss limits and win limits must be inviolable. 8. The hit-and-run strategy is your only realistic path to winning. The longer you stay, the more you lose. Set a time limit and leave when you hit it. No exceptions. Here's the ultimate truth that few people have the courage to speak. The casino always wins in the long run. Always. The mathematics is relentless. The house has an edge in every game, and that edge compounds with every hour you play. But knowledge is your only real advantage. You can't beat the mathematics, but you can play smarter. You can minimize losses. You can maximize your entertainment value per dollar spent. And most importantly, you can recognize when you're being manipulated and make conscious decisions instead of emotional ones. If you found this video valuable, if you learned something you didn't know, I need you to do 3 things right now. First, subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. I'm going to continue exposing secrets from the casino industry, sports betting, and other gambling sectors. Information that operators don't want you to have. Second, share this video. Send it to that friend who plays every weekend. Share it in your group chats. Post it on your social media. The more players who know these tactics, the less effective they become. Shared knowledge is shared power. Third, watch this video right here, where I reveal the 5 slot machines that casinos regret buying because they pay out too much. You don't want to miss that information. Now, the mandatory but absolutely critical legal disclaimer. If you or someone you know is struggling with problem gambling, seek help immediately. In the United States, you can contact the National Council on Problem Gambling at 1-800-522-4700, available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Problem gambling is a serious condition that affects not just the gambler, but entire families. This video is for educational and awareness purposes only. I'm not encouraging anyone to gamble. I'm educating those who already gamble about how the industry actually operates. If you're going to play responsibly, play with strict limits, and understand that you're paying for entertainment, not investing in a wealth-building strategy. My name doesn't matter, but what I've revealed today matters. Use this knowledge wisely. Until the next video, where I'm going to reveal how casinos use facial recognition cameras and artificial intelligence to track your every movement on the floor. You won't believe the level of surveillance that exists. Play safe, play smart, and above all, know when to walk away.